All right, so I think it's pretty classy of HBO Max, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers Discovery, a very classy organization, to start this program with an in memoriam Gene Hackman slide.
That was nice.
Kind of interesting. And then, well, the movie starts.
Boy, does it.
really starts.
In the chances of having a seizure go way up.
Why do you say that?
There's so much bright, flashing lights. This is just before they knew to warn people about stuff like this, but it is very disorienting. The credits, as we mentioned, go on and on. It's the same, it's looking like crystals from his planet, but it's this a lot. It's hard to explain. Just over and over again, it feels like I'm in MK Ultra. Like I'm warfare is being done on my eyeballs.
Yeah, this we might find out one day. This movie was part of a program of some sort.
Yes, and then it goes into the them trying to make Superman's home planet look alien, and using the effects they had at the time was let's crank up the brights and turn down the shadows so we can't see any faces. We can just see really bright fucking neon clothes.
I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Well, they got some valuable intel on us from having us watch this movie for 50 years. We just finished the movie. Lacey and I did. And Superman smiles at the camera at the end. Like literally like acknowledging the camera. Do you think the intent right there is like Superman's so powerful that he can even see through movies and can see you at home? In the theater.
He's just a real personable guy. He never flies off and just flies off. It's not about him. He flies off and he acknowledges someone. He does it the entire movie. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And we were the only one there to acknowledge. He'd already said goodbye to the chief.
I like how whenever he saves someone, he always takes time. Gentlemen, this man needs medical attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, John Williams' theme totally doesn't sound like Star Wars.
No.
Well, if you got him in a room and are like, here's Star Wars, da, 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 and here's Superman, da, 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 you'd be like, no, they're in totally different keys. They do use very few of the same notes. But we as lay people, we just feel they're similar, but it's fine. This is one of the iconic superhero themes. It sounds like Superman. And indeed, how long has it been since there's been an iconic superhero theme at all? It's been years and years and years. Quick, sing Deadpool's theme to me, Lacey.
Dun, 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 dun.
Shit, she got it.
Wait, no. Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. That's it.
Okay.
In the latest movie.
That is cheating, as that existed before, but I'll give it to you. We go to Krypton, or as Marlon Brando calls it, Krypton.
He can't be bothered. He did this in 12 days.
Krypton. We begin, it's the deepest recesses of space. There's a star that's about to go supernova. There's some model work that looks really cool. You can tell the texture of the planet from this. You get some texture.
Yay.
We meet Marlon Brando, and he starts giving a speech making the case for the prosecution of 3 terrorists, General Zod, and 2 others. What did they do? Wanton violence and destruction, perversions, and unreasoning hatred of mankind. This is where you get the most of the because these are the villains of Superman 2.
Okay.
And I know this wasn't the first movie to literally like plan out what you're going to be doing in your sequels, but to produce them back to back, it's just kind of neat that you have them right here, the seeds for the next movie.
I did assume, and I've heard of that little guy before.
The little guy of General Zod?
Yeah, give him a couple more inches. He's not so mean.
The council pronounces them guilty. And General Zod, who's played by Terrence Stamp, is like, he yells at Jor-El. He's like, Jor-El, fucking bow before me if you don't one day you're heirs. But they get sentenced to the Phantom Zone.
First he offers him a sweet-ass deal. And he's like, no, I'm a good guy. Bye now.
I'll set up my new order, my totalitarian order or whatever, and you can be my number 2 man.
How does that sound? And he says, no, I'm a good boy. And he says, you will kneel before me then. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
You and one day, your ass. The Phantom Zone, this neat little space box, 2-dimensional space box that they get
so
sucked
neat.
Into. Jor-El goes and he meets with the council and he's like, good news. We sent those guys up into the Phantom Zone. They're like, yeah, that's really great. Good. Anything else? And he's like, yes, there's the matter of our planet, which is facing imminent destruction. Look, it's our destructing algorithm indicators are off the chart. And they're like, relax, Jor-El. It's just the fluctuation.
You're going to cause the whole thing. Everybody, we got dinner plans.
So they're like denying that the planet...
It's climate change, I guess.
Yes, they're denying that anything's wrong. Also, if something was wrong, we wouldn't want to cause a panic.
Well, and also, we wouldn't want to have to detain you because you're a loose cannon now. Like, just let me leave so I can get my affairs together. I'll be super quiet about it.
Yeah. So there is a special edition of the movie that I watched to make my notes. You and I watched the theatrical cut. Now I realized that the version I grew up with was the special edition because there's scenes in it like Superman getting, like Lex Luthor having a sort of machine gun thing to shoot Superman with when he first gets to his lair. Mm-hmm. That when we're watching the theatrical, I'm like, wait, did I imagine that scene? No, it's in the special edition. But the other weird thing about the special edition is there's just tons of scenes that have like one extra line of dialogue that are totally unnecessary. And then there's more stuff with like the Kryptonian elders talking about, jor-el, don't you do that thing you're always doing.
It's a good
and you just back
call.
And forth. Yeah, it's
get it out of there.
Because the movie moves real fast. The theatrical cut does.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, I just wanted to point out this. I'd like to look into other Marlon Brando movies, but I think his acting tick might be my friend. When he forgets a line, he just says, he grabs the shoulders of the person nearest him. It's my friend, my boy, my confidant. And then he gives him a minute to think of his line.
I think you might be right. Yeah. Yes. A very ticky actor, lots of tricks. Maybe the most biggest bag of tricks actor there ever was. Call him the rabbit from the Serial. Remember Serial? It will come back later. But anyway, any attempt to create a climate of panic will be considered an act of insurrection out of you, Jor-el. Jeez. And he's like, oh, okay, you shan't hear a word from me. But he goes to talk to his wife, and they're secretly going to send their baby to Earth, even though Earth is thousands of years behind us. Why, they're savages, they are. That's what the mother says.
That's why he'll have an advantage. He'll be all the things that they are not.
But Jor-el's like, he'll be so strong and so fast. His mom's like, but he'll be an outcast. He'll be lonely, get competing visions of what his life will be. And indeed, kind of happens in the movie.
All superheroes do get lonely.
So they put their baby in the crystal pod, and embedded in the crystals is lots of like audio recordings of his dad lecturing him about physics.
And hopefully like some juice or some sort of nutrients, because he grows 4 years.
He eats crystals. He just absorbs it. I don't know.
Okay.
Even though he later says he eats when he gets hungry, but this movie's not big on details, and it's Donner's, tone is very like feather light. Just don't worry about any of that. This is just a fun little. It's almost a fairy tale.
Except for there are really scary scenes, like horror movie level scary action sequences that I don't know if we've just like combed those out because there's no need to have that kind of realism in certain things and prolonged screaming and torture of people.
What are you thinking of? I'm
thinking of the helicopter scene with Lois Lane, and I'm thinking of the ends where she gets buried alive. It's fucking and there's more, and there's another one and I can't think of. There's just very fucking realistic and traumatizing, and like that person's not coming. I don't care if Superman's saving them, they're not going to be right.
Right. I mean, maybe it's just, this is a very skilled, horror director, just made The Omen, also just top-notch practical effects. So it just feels way more real than in your superhero movie today, where the danger is a city gets destroyed by a big space glob and it doesn't feel like anything. And
he must be one of those directors that's just really good at like telling someone like Margot Kidder to be like, okay, just scream. You're going, this is so scary. This is the scariest thing. Just grab your shirt and grab, like, she's really selling it too. Mm-hmm. It's both of her scenes. The one in the hell, oh no. I mean, I'm like, oh, it's too late. Just let her die.
Yeah, the helicopter scene
fucked up.
Not only is it great at putting you in it, but showing you what the helicopter by going out of control is doing to the little like helipad that it's on and crashing into the building and stuff. And it's like very simple stuff, but it feels so much more effective than what you see in a blockbuster today.
Yeah.
Baby goes into the thing. Bye-bye, baby.
Yeah, bye-bye. Then the planet blows up. Yay.
There's a lot more destruction in the special edition, which I think is pretty cool. Like you see the Kryptonian people like dying as their planet crumbles and blows up. All right. Well, the baby, Kal-El, now 3 years old, crashes onto the earth in Kansas, and he's discovered by Ma and Pa Kent,
who think his baby wiener is adorable.
Well, I mean, It's just a lot of baby penises back in the day.
You
And
know?
I don't think we get them anymore.
Darn it.
You know, it was on all our album covers. It was
Yes, I know.
all of your Simpsons movies.
Was it?
It was in the Simpsons movie. It's a good joke in the Simpsons movie.
All right, enough wiener talk.
Yeah, these old fucks are like, what's that over there? And they look in and it's a little baby who's like, here I am. And Lacey's immediately like, that's not a cute baby. And gets mad at this baby for not having a cute face.
He's fine. He just could have been more attractive.
He could have been more attractive. Lacey's like the casting cat. She's like Harvey Weinstein of babies.
Can you tell what's wrong? I can tell immediately by looking at him. What is missing? Eyebrows. Give that boy eyebrows. Now he got a cute kid.
They were singed off in the meteor. I
don't need a reason why they're gone. I'm telling you why the boy's off-putting.
And the mom is like, we've always wanted God to send us a baby. Now we have one. And we'll just tell him he's our cousins and then dropped him off at our place. And the dad, Jonathan Kent, played by the legend Glenn Ford, is like, now Martha Clark Kent, what have I told you about having plans? Have I ever used your full name to you, Lacey? Is this a thing husbands do?
It's usually what parents do to a child. Also, I feel like he just Lacey Elizabeth Rothed her and gave her his middle and last, because why is her middle name Clark? But why is my middle name Roth? You know,
Right.
Things are weird.
Well,
But that's how we find out how Superman gets his name.
if you were wondering, that's it.
Now I know.
I believe Clark is her maiden name. So it actually
Sure.
is her giving your maiden name is Roth. We gave Roth to the middle name of our child.
Look at there.
There you go.
Now you can dox us, guys. You got all the info.
Kal-El wows them by lifting up the truck, and this convinces Jonathan Kent to be like, yeah, I guess we can keep him. He's very strong baby. We can put him to good work on the farm.
We live on a farm. Strong baby, good.
Because this movie has a featherlight touch and is very fleet of foot, we just jump ahead in time. Now he's a teenager. He's the football team's equipment manager, and he has to lick the boots of all the cool kids because he's not allowed to use his cool powers to be cool. So this girl, Lana Lang, invites Clark to go, like, hey, would you like to go listen to some records?
Lana Lang and then Lois Lane. Interesting.
She invites him to go listen to some cool records with my groovy friends, but then this big tough guy's like, no, he can't go. He needs to fucking...
He got helmets for days. Look. And he looks over. He's like, gee, that is 12 helmets. I definitely can't fuck this girl. Aw, man.
So she hops into the back of the car with this goon, and he has like 12 cheerleaders just packed into his car. We'll go fuck these 12 cheerleaders.
He needed all of them.
Clark is mad because again he can't show everybody how cool he really is, and he kicks the football in frustration, and it goes a million miles. Then he's running beside this train, and it looks silly, but like the movie really captures how fun it looks to go real fast. Do you agree?
It sure. There's a little Forrest Gump in there. There's a little Edward. Not Snowden, but Cullen. Yeah, that's the one.
I didn't think you were saying Snowden.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to clarify. It is silly to make someone run fast if they're going faster than something they should be going. Like, because what do you do with their face? Everything that you're doing that's superhuman makes you look stupid. What are you gonna do?
On the train, there's a girl who's like, look, mommy, it's a guy running real fast. In the special edition, we reveal this is Lois Lane. And they're like, Lois Lane, you have a writer's gift for imagination.
Slap.
Hope you put it to good use. And then slap, because that's just what we were doing in the 50s.
Yeah, just that kid's talking when I got on my soaps. Is there TV? I don't know.
Or at any moment. Kids talking, you gotta correct that.
You have scissors. Slap. You don't talk with scissors.
Anyway, Clark runs back to his house. Then the teens pass him and they're like, Clark, how'd you beat us? And he's like, I ran. And then Clark's dad hears this and he's like, now, son, what were you doing? Showing off? And he's like, yeah, I'm real sorry, Pop. I'm sorry I did that. And he's like, it's okay. But all I know is you came to this world for a reason. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not for scoring touchdowns. And this is basically the one Glenn Ford scene, but he's really wonderful in this little scene, really important to setting up who Clark is. And I think that maybe the movie could emphasize this a little more, but the very end of the movie, which we just watched, has Clark freaking out when Lois dies, going into the sky and seeing Jor-El in the cloud saying, you can't interfere. But then that gets drowned out by his human dad.
Yeah.
And it's like him learning, I choose my human dad over my Krypton dad.
I choose my destiny, not your fucking flavor crystals.
Yes. And the movie I think the movie, that's one little thing I would have liked in the movie, just a little more of him feeling torn between those identities and deciding. I like when somebody decides to be immortal or to be a mortal rather than being a god.
Yeah.
But then the dad just drops dead right there. Like, oh, my arm, shit. Heart attack.
Real Spider-Man, Peter's uncle of you. Just saying.
I mean, yes. And the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, I think, really, really studied this movie because they want to go for this tone. They love, Peter Parker constantly getting shat on by everybody. Things like just simple things like I get to the elevator and it slams shut on me. And that's always happening to Clark Kent as well.
Man, they like these Cheerios. They really give a lot of. Is it product placement or do they just not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we are looking at Ma Kent, who is after they bury Pa Kent in the Smallville cemetery. And we just get this amazing, like John Ford scenery photography, shots of the landscape. Although I kept checking, where is the horizon? Is it in the middle or is it in the bottom or the top? Would John Ford approve of this or not?
Good point.
But I'm not good enough at, you remember his lesson from the end of the Fablemans? Yeah, so that means it's boring.
Okay.
But yeah, Ma Kent looks out on her John Ford landscape, and there is a Cheerios box that she has with her, and the entire scene is lit so that you can only see her silhouette and the Cheerios box. Then you get the reverse shot. You see her from outside, and the Cheerios box has now been turned
and glowing
toward the camera.
A candle's been put inside of it.
Cheerios. She goes out. Her son is like out on the hill, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Well, we forgot to mention that in the middle of the night, he got woken up and he got drawn to the barn. Something drew him, and it was a green crystal buried underneath the earth. And so now he's like,
it's just in a box, Matt.
Whatever. I have to leave, Mom. And she says, I knew this day would come. We both knew from the day we found you.
You could find the green crystal we put in that chest that keeps saying, Clark.
What?
Jor-el, or whatever his name is. Krypton guy.
I think the other thing I think we're missing is just like one maybe callback with his mom at the end of the movie.
Women do not matter in this. Moms, I mean, Lois Lane does, but only because she's always in distress. But there's bimbos, there's old ladies you leave behind. There's his mom who cared about his loneliness, never mentioned again.
Yeah, never. Send her some money.
And this old lady who can't figure out how to get out of her screen door, never thought of again. So
I guess maybe it's like, well, we don't see Christopher Reeve interact with either of those people, so I know that we know it's the same person, but we don't see, because he's not played by Christopher Reeve yet. Anyway, gotta go, Mom. Yeah, okay. You know where you're going? I'm going north. All right.
I'm going to the island of lost toys. I don't understand this voyage. The next thing you see, he's in a place that does not exist on Earth. I guess it's supposed to be part of the Neverending Story.
Yeah. He's Buddy the Elf. He's Yukon Cornelius. He's like on floating ice pallets and stuff. Just following the song in his soul.
Following vibes.
And then eventually he just chucks the green crystal. It goes really far away and then starts building a palace of ice.
Let it go of the ice. It's just cold.
He goes in. What's in this palace of ice? And it's Marlon Brando.
The most boring shit. There's nothing to play with, nothing to eat. You just got to sit there and think and look at your dad's giant head. He couldn't even project a head that's like to scale. Why has it got to be the biggest head?
He's got a tower over him. Let him know. I may be dead, but I'm still your father.
About time. Took you 18 Earth years, my friend.
So they spend the next decade or so with him, giving him lessons. Here's the theory of relativity. These are the Italian explorers you need to know. Da Gama, Americo Vespucci. But they go off into space. Anyway, just it goes on a little while. Now, bada bing, bada boom, Christopher Reeve is here. It's years later. It's 50 minutes into the movie. Here's the star of the movie. He's in the Superman costume. He flies into the camera.
You need to go to New Yorkotropolis.
Exactly. First movie over. Now we get to the real movie.
Yeah.
And things start chucking along, and Lacey seems to start having a good time my immense relief.
Lois Lane's got charm for fucking days, and I do enjoy Mr. Reeve. Everybody's just so gosh darn nice. Even the meanies are nice.
Is her charm in her wazoo or out?
I don't know what that. Oh, it's without and within, honestly. And even the guy that mugs them in a few scenes, it's like, girl, come on.
Yeah.
Come here. hey, you, come on. It seems like they have a choice. These are nice guys.
It's a nice world. Do they really need Superman that much? I don't know. It's a question we'll tackle as we go along.
The problem is all the climate change.
Well, and is Superman utilizing his powers for the ultimate good? He's like stopping bank robbers and stuff, but like, buddy, you can screen people for cancer. How about setting up a clinic? Just come by.
Yeah.
Early detection is key.
Shit.
But so what happens when Clark arrives in Metropolis?
Well, he already secured himself a job.
Yes.
He's already impressed the hell out of the boss, and now he's going to be shown around by Lois Lane to learn how to work at the Daily Planet.
Margot Kidder is Lois
beat.
Lane. Margot Kidder is wonderful in this role. Everything at the office is intentionally supposed to be like a 1930s comedy, a screwball comedy where everything is hectic. Everybody's talking over each other, rat-a-tat-tat. But the joke with Lois Lane is that all the stories she's working on are always very horrifying. She's like, how do you spell bloodletting? How do you spell massacre? Hey, Lois, there's only one P in rapist. She has a thing with like, oh, I love my story about the sex and drugs orgies at the old folks' home.
Okay, but like they never could have predicted that. That just sounds like news now.
Yeah.
That is all anyone writes about.
Right. And her boss at one point is like, Lois, you're always bringing this tabloid garbage to me. We do hard news here.
What, like, give me an example.
I don't know, but this is like a successful enough news organization that they have a helipad on top of their building.
Well, and they work for the world. If it's not just the New York Times, the Washington Post.
I love Daily Planet. It's just such a great.
It's such a good, just a great logo. I want that big giant. But what? Something ruined it. Is it not Planet Fitness? Hollywood Planet? Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood?
Yes, they have such a fucking similar goddamn look. Ruined it. Or took a little bit of it.
Little update for Album Gate. We are no closer to determining
have not figured
what
out
the album cover is. I sent Lacey a Matchbox 20 album cover.
I didn't even write back. I was so disappointed with it.
Oh, damn it. I think that is the one that I was thinking of.
It's the wrong one, and now I feel alone. I feel like I'm in a fortress of solitude.
So, yeah, Clark is arriving for his first day of work. He secured this job because he's a very fast typist. That's how it worked back in the day. God, the American economy. Just, I'm here for a job. How fast can you type? Pretty fast. All right,
he wasn't supposed to show off.
You're hired, and I'm giving you Miss Lane's old beat, and she's like, "Hey,
she's the best we've got. What the fuck?"
I don't know. This just white man's privilege.
Sure.
Clark is like, "Well, Mr. White, golly gee, he's just bumble fucking his way around." Although not, he's like,
it's not as bad as I thought it'd be.
He's not playing like the Eugene from Grease kind of nerd. No. He's just like, I'm a very good-spirited.
He's from like
well-meaning,
the heart of the country. He just seems like a farm boy. He's playing super naive and like from maybe 10 or 15 years in the past.
Yeah, playing the caricature of what New Yorkers think of Kansans.
Yeah.
So can you send half of my paycheck back to my ma back at home? And Margot,
he didn't say that. Margot's like, wait, half your paycheck? Don't tell me. It's to some little old lady that's your mother. And he's like, well, no, she's got anyway. It is that, but he doesn't say it. She says it. As a facetious moment. It just happens to be right.
Sure, thank you. And then she says, are there any more at home like you? And I guess she's like, because you're no good for me, but maybe others would be?
You're not supposed to date it at the job. She's being professional.
Okay. I guess that's what it is. Well, Clark escorts her out of the workplace at the end of the day. She's like, how was your first day? And he's like, oh, it was a lot of work, but gosh, Mr. White was so nice and you were so nice.
Boss is so nice.
Jimmy was so nice. It was just swell.
And then here comes hey, come here, maybe.
The sweetest mugger in cinema history,
come on.
Lacey says.
Come on.
Folks, could you come here, please?
No, it's just like, hey, I'm a little stinker. You want to come over here?
Yeah, and Clark is doing golly gee, please, no. Lois, you better give him what he wants. And she kicks the guy in the face.
With open-toed shoes, I will add.
Does that make it worse?
It means she kicked him with her bare toes, Matt.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
Rather than surrender her $10. And so the guy is going to shoot her, but Clark catches the bullet and then pretends to faint. And the robber runs away. And then Lois looks down and is like, Clark. And he's like, oh, gosh, I must have fainted. I'm sorry. Just a big old
You big
dumbass.
lug. And he just rolls his eyes like, oh, Lois, you almost died.
So,
you're crazy.
Now we meet the great Ned Beatty, just one of the best actors ever, most versatile actors, could play the scariest person of all time, like in Network. He can play the most bumbling, dumbass, fat ass
But he's not even
minion.
fat.
I know he's not fat. They say, you weigh 200 pounds.
So do I.
Yeah. It's like, I weighed 200 pounds when I was 17.
In my bra. Okay, just kidding.
But whenever we see Ned Beatty as Otis, the score just gets so like whimsical.
It's not whimsical. It's like farts. It's like lollipop farts.
Here comes stupid.
And before I realized his character just was stupid, they just keep showing him in a distance and going about his day. And I said, if I found out after production that every time I'm on screen, they play the fat fucking poop music, I would be so mad. And then I'm like, oh, okay. He already knew. His character's very, very stupid.
Yes, but you've just flagged something I've never thought about. That is probably what actors respond to the most when they finally see a cut of a movie. Like, why did you put that music in when I'm on screen?
When it's slow motion, when it's not, because you're doing it in fast motion. You don't know when things are going to be slowed down and look really fucking cool. You don't always know.
I thought I looked like a badass, and you're saying I'm like...
Yeah.
So some cops are like, that's the guy. You think he's going to lead us to the big man, Luther? So they're
aware of him.
Oh, yeah. They follow him.
He's just like a myth, though. He's like a mole person that lives under the city. We're pretty sure he's real.
Right. Well, he's like Batman. The Bat? Oh, you got a bigger chance of winning the lotto. Seeing that guy.
Uh-huh.
They follow Otis down into the train station and then down onto the train tracks. They're going to get him, but he goes through the secret passageway right as a train comes. And then in the Lex Luthor lair, they press the button to push the door out, which pushes the cop onto the tracks.
Kills him.
And kills him dead. Yeah.
This is the coolest fucking underground lair I've ever seen in my life. I was already pumped when I found out it was in the fucking
Train station.
gutters.
Okay.
What am I trying to say? Gutters. Sewer. I was thinking, shit, I'll take it. I'll take some Two-Face layer. I'll take some fucking the Penguin layer. I'll take whatever you got. There's even some Avengers that fuck around in the sewer. I'm happy for whatever. And then it's a gorgeous library with the most majestic pool that is actually like a part of a building's bottom, and it's got stairs that go into it, like fucking Titanic stairs. It's amazing.
Nothing better than a pool that's a thing.
It's business water in the best way. And if
I don't
you
think
don't
it's
know
business water. I think this is chlorinated, treated pool water.
I got you. But what makes it business water is not the water. It's what's in it. So if you could accidentally step on things that take care of business that aren't in there just so you have a pool time, pleasure time, it's business water. That's why a fountain has business water.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. And this is years before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
We didn't even know the years ahead of sewer layers. This is the one.
The only thing missing to make this the most magical, but I still find it very magical, is some sort of pneumatic system, because they're underground. So I would like to see how they get in and out, and it can't just be that one way. Because that just seems so dirty. This place is classy. It's a classy broad that comes out of here. She ain't classy, but she's fancy. So there's got to be other ways you get in and out of this place.
What were we watching recently with a pneumatic tube?
I know.
You said, "Oh, I love a pneumatic tube," and I said, "I do too."
I don't know. I can't remember. I was trying to think.
All right. Well,
All right. It must be Rushmore. Could it? It was a thing we abandoned.
that was Rushmore.
Well, I don't know that it was the thing we abandoned. It just might be the thing that maybe it was the Royal Tenenbaums.
Probably like a fucking
like a pneumatic tube.
That guy.
Everything was that. I
Fancy
just
man.
real sucky. I like a good suck on my hand. You're like,
Anyway, Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor, one of the all-time great villain performances. This is why he's my favorite actor. This isn't my favorite performance of his, but this might be the one where I'd point to, like, who is better? Give me a better person in a movie.
because like, what was he given? He's so there's so many layers on this guy. He's
Match the
an
tone.
asshole. He's funny. He's loving. He's the worst.
Yes.
He's delightfully evil, but he's
Be all of those things and be totally coherent with the tone of the movie.
Right.
Where he's funny and just menacing enough
Yes.
to go a little scarier than what the rest of the movie is, but not too much so that it doesn't feel like it belongs.
And if you've got a movie where someone keeps telling you how smart they are, it's usually the fact that the joke is they're not. But maybe the most impressive plan to get power and money I've ever heard of in a movie, especially for one that's kind of silly like this one, and for his research abilities and how he found out that kryptonite was the only thing that had the way he figured it. Like it's not just blah 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 blah. There's a whole thing. This movie bothered to think it through.
I know. Yes, Lacey like basically made us pause the movie so she could compliment how good the scheme was. Like that is a good villain scheme.
He kept saying it was going to be the best thing of all time, and I'm like, there's no way he's not just blowing up something. There's no way. But and I was right. But he did it. It was so smart. Except for he didn't think about the fact that, yeah, you break off California at the fault line and then you own all the cheap land that now becomes the prime real estate, except for, do people want to live on a fault line that's now completely cracked, has no water, and just has rubble of millions of dead people as their scenery? I don't know if he thought this through.
No,
I don't know that the ocean's deep enough.
Yes. Do people want to live? Why do people live in Florida right now? Why do people live where we live right now?
Fine, but I think it would take years and years for people to get over there, and not, I think, just out of like fucking, it'd be just like, you're not going to eat. Okay, you know what real estate's going to be cheap? Where those twin towers fell down. I'm going to get an apartment right on the side of that. So while they're figuring that shit out, cleaning it up, there's still legs sticking out of the fucking rubble. I'm going to have the sweetest apartment. That's my point. It's going to be decades before you're going to be able to get this payoff, Lex.
Well, that's why you're not Lex Luthor, because he sees the world in decades.
He's already old.
He's not that
He's
old.
middle-aged. Yeah.
But I like his flaw is he is super smart, but like he cannot help but surround himself with dumbasses.
What are these henchmen? I'm completely confused by the lady.
Because they're like,
I don't get it.
I don't know. This is a thing people have where you're like, you're really smart and accomplished. Why are you always with this loser?
Because you're also really insecure.
Yes, that's why.
And the only thing about you is you're smart. So you have to be the smartest guy in the room, or else you don't have a thing.
Right. So that will actually prevent you from bringing on people who might be an asset to your organization. You're like, don't look at me. Stop looking at me.
Which makes me a little worried why you married me. Am I smart or dumb? Oh no, I don't know.
I'm not smart. Somebody commented Matt thinks he's smarter than I am.
Right. You don't have to be smart. You just have to think you're smart, man.
It wounded me because that's true. I do think I'm smarter than I am. Mm-hmm. I'm just good at like retaining information and spitting it back out.
That sounds smart to me. I like it.
I was listening to the podcast Guys with Brian Quimby, a podcast about guys. He had an episode on smart guys. Ooh. Basically, he'll just like go into a Reddit subculture, and he went onto like the Mensa subreddit. Oh. And people were like, how do you date people who are in, what's the word? Fucking.
Benza?
No, the.
Womenza? Normies?
No, when you're who are like standard deviations below.
Oh you. Yeah, got it.
And they're like, I find you can date 2 at max below your level of intellect. Anything beyond that, they just become too materialistic, and this is the most like evil sounding people talking about how to date people who aren't as smart as them. And anyway, check out the Guys with Brian Quimby. Anyway, Lex asks the question, why does the most brilliant criminal mastermind of his time surround himself with total nincompoops? And then Ned Beatty enters. He's like, I'm here, Mr. Luthor. He's like, yes, I was just talking about you.
He also, you don't want to run the risk of having someone smart enough to outsmart you enough for you to like give away some of your plans or take away. I mean, if you're trying to do crime, you probably need useful idiots, not other smarties.
Right. Like how can Ocean's 11 actually trust each other? How can the best jewel thieves actually have like this team? Aren't you just going to assume they're always going to be betraying each other?
They would heartbreakers each other.
Yeah.
They would, the fucking lady that raised you would, as soon as she has your social security number, is going to wipe out your bank accounts, and you're going to be a loving mother who also cons your daughter just for fun.
So it's the only thing you can actually do. It's the smart move. You just have to work with nincompoops.
Yes.
Lex starts lecturing about how he's going to buy lots of land. My daddy said they're not making any more land. Buy a lot of land. And there's a thing on the front page of the paper about the government launching some missiles. He's doing all of this just by reading the newspaper.
And he's got his own library.
Then, the helicopter rescue. Tell us about the helicopter rescue, Lacey.
Well, Lois is always on the go, always trying to get a scoop, do a thing. And Air Force One is going to be landing, so she wants to like see the fucking president get out of the airplane. But Clark is trying to get a date, and she's like, nope, not unless you have a plane. Bye. And so she gets up there, and she's just, she's loving life. She doesn't want to slow down, doesn't want to be like her sister. She just wants to get the story, get the scoop. And she gets up there, and like she gets in the plane, and she's really just having a great day. And just to watch it wash all over her of like, maybe I have made the wrong life decisions. Maybe I am living a life of emptiness. I'm about to die alone in this fucking helicopter. There's a helicopter there's no bad guys up here. It just gets stuck on its cable. And
it's just behaving like a helicopter.
Well, but it's behaving like a helicopter that is tied to a leash that it's not supposed to. So it's helicoptering around and around. It is fucking scary and effective, and she is screaming her ass off. The pilot does not know what to do to make it stop, doesn't seem to know how to make the helicopter not be helicoptering anymore. It's just it's more like it's from a thriller or a horror movie. And then all these people are at the bottom of the building just like looking up like, oh no, big item gonna fall down. Oh, we should all be careful. Maybe move.
Which is a thing that is totally gone from superhero movies today is normal people's perspective, and the normal people being thrilled at watching a rescue.
Yeah.
Which was such a staple of superhero movies for so long, and it's just gone.
It's in Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think the last time it was really
nice.
used was Avengers 2012 when they get down to the people's perspective and they enlist like the locals to help them. And then after that, it's like, we're not interested in anybody who doesn't have a superpower.
Well, that's because they stack their cast so fucking deep. There's no screen time for anybody else.
Exactly. Yes. It's teetering over the side of the building. The crowd is gathered. Clark, down on the ground, sees that she's in trouble. He's like, I got to change to my Superman costume. And everybody in the audience is like, I know where Superman changes a phone booth. But it's 1978. There's no gosh darn phone booths anymore. So he changes real fast in a revolving door. And he gets her and he's like, easy, miss. I've got you. She's like, you've got me. Who's got you? I love this person down on the ground who says very calmly, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. He got her.
That's exactly what someone would say. Look, he did it. Okay.
And he carries the helicopter away and they're like, yay, good job.
Well, guess we'll go get the pizza. He is so gentle. He's always considering that there's a human inside of a thing. Like today's superheroes, they know they need to stop the big, like, a train is hurtling the wrong way. I'm going to fucking stop it. And then like no consideration for the people inside. He is so gentle. He's going to he's not just going to drag this helicopter up where it goes. He's going to make it fly like a human body needs it to. So the pilot's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then he immediately says, like, the helicopter pilot needs medical attention. Stat.
He's truly a Boy Scout.
And then he tells Lois, I hope this hasn't turned you off of flying. Statistically, it's the safest way to travel. Not helicopter. Not true of helicopter flying, right? Can't be.
No idea.
Well, I feel like helicopters are dangerous as shit, but maybe we just hear about the deadly helicopter crashes.
They crash locally. They're not going on long distance. We just hear about them because they're around.
They need to think global.
That's right. Daily Planet.
Who are you? Lois asks, and he says, a friend. And he flies away.
Oh, okay, that comes back.
So we get this montage of him doing good stuff. He stops a cat burglar who's doing a Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, scaling the side of the building.
To that cat burglar, I say you're doing too much. You could have used the inside.
He stops some robbers who escape on a boat and then just drops the boat in the middle of Manhattan.
You've now caused such a crisis in the morning. And also the police need to get in and out of here, sir. Like you're really kind of doing some damage. I do appreciate how naive he is and how like he's just a fucking goober. He doesn't save this. Here's a boat. Everybody like it? What do you think? Like I don't know. There's something very sweet about the way he does it and not practical.
Yeah, and he is not like a super genius Lex Luthor. Like, how can I best optimize my saving ability? Because he's like, yeah, I'll stop and help a girl with her cat.
Right. Yeah, he's not Iron Man. He's not, or even Batman, who's all about his intelligence. He's just like, I sure am strong. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. I'm going to go pick up something if it needs it. La, 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 la. Oh, gee, yours nice. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. That's his music.
That's exactly, yeah.
John Williams should have called me.
And it turns out it's exactly what America needs right now.
It's refreshing. I like that there's not one moment where he's like, I love the smell of my own shit.
No snark, no quips.
No, he's just helpful.
No him making fun of Superman. Sounds kind of dumb.
I mean, he is wearing his underwear on the outside, and that is bothering me the entire time. But I get it.
He saves the girl with her cat Frisky, and then she goes inside, and her mom's like, she's like, Mommy, Superman saved me. Saved my cat. And then I told you not to tell lies. Slap.
Now, the next day in the fucking newspapers, when there's all these reports about a flying man, does she take the slap back? Does she offer her face to be slapped in a payment? I didn't think so.
Now, I haven't seen the sequels in a few years. I'm pretty sure this recurs throughout this is a runner throughout the series. Is this girl getting abused by her mom for seeing Superman? And I believe it's parodied in the Captain Underpants novels. Somebody check those novels out and confirm for me.
Yeah, get back.
Anyway, then he saves Air Force One. So with Jimmy Carter on board, presumably. Oh, thanks so much, Superman. So there's a scene in the special edition of the movie, which we didn't watch. I watched it on my own, where Clark goes back to talk to Jor-El, and he's like, hey, I'm feeling real torn between being a human being and being a savior. And his dad is like, oh, well, sounds real tough, but you'll figure it out. And it interrupts the movie's momentum. It's not necessary at all, but it is good to see Christopher Reeve acting with Marlon Brando, which we don't see at all in the theatrical cut.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Then it's the night it's the next day at work, and Mr. White is yelling at all the reporters. He's like, get me the scoop on Superman.
Give me the poop scoop. Somebody got to do it.
I want to know everything. Does he have a girlfriend? Does he eat fried food? Where does he get his blue pants tailored? Anyway, it'll be the most important interview since God talked to Moses. As he's, talking, Lois Lane gets a note saying, meet me at your place tonight, a friend. And then it's that night, and she has this ridiculous sprawling penthouse with a backyard.
Just a beautiful garden. She is Jasmine. She is on the very amazing balcony waiting for Aladdin. She's in a blue dress. It's going to go.
It is a fairy tale.
Yep.
So Superman arrives, and she's like, oh my God, Superman's going to show up. Got a really impressive with the way I look. And he shows up and he's like, well, hello. You're a reporter and the best in town, I hear. So I bet people have a lot of questions of me. Why don't you write a nice piece on me? And she's like, okay, great. She starts smoking cigarettes because it was the glorious 1970s where you could do that. And, Superman screens her for lung cancer. She's good for now. And again, Superman should start a cancer screening clinic.
Yes.
That's how he could do the most good in the world. She's asking him questions. Are you married? How big are you? How tall are you? Do you
blow it?
Eat?
Ma'am.
He starts explaining that here's my rules. I can't see through lead, so I can't see what color underwear you're wearing. Write that down, please. She does.
She's like, behind a lead planter box.
I come from the planet Krypton. In 1948, it blew up. Here's what I'm vulnerable to. And I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. And Lois says, you're going to fight every politician in the country. So I think that we could. There's an interesting conversation to be had about like what this movie's take on politics is and Superman's role in the world. 1978 is basically the tail end of this decade of immense disenchantment with all institutions of public life, starting with the Kennedy assassination and then Vietnam, Watergate, the Church Committee hearings, which tell you all the horrific shit that America's military and intelligence agencies are doing all around the world. And it's like, you cannot come to the conclusion we are the good guys anymore. But this is sort of a beginning of a retrenchment. Like, no. We're good.
So between him and Hulk Hogan, America really came back.
Right. I think that this is kind of like this comes back full force in the 80s. I mean, Reagan's whole message is like, we don't have to apologize for shit. We're the best. Shut up. And this is kind of the only acknowledgement of that idea of him saying, I'm here to fight for the American way. And she's like, what American way? We don't do that. Like, the American way is bad now. And he's like, no, gosh, I think it's good. Oh, okay, it's good. So they go fly.
It is quite the prolonged flying sequence. It's really sweet. It's very relatable. I'm like, what would I do? What would I do up there? I guess I'd try to fly too, like this. And then I'd accidentally let go. And he'd wait a little second. I don't know why. And then he'd save me. And then he'd do it again. And then, there's something very like realistic about it. very stupid about it. And it goes on and on. And I'm thinking, like, if I'm a little kid who thought he was coming to see a Superman movie, I am so pissed with this scene.
Really? Because I
think so.
I mean, the tagline was, "You'll believe a man can fly." They feel really good about the flying special effects. And I think that I think they're still effective if you weren't thinking about how dumb it looks. You were thinking,
I'm fine, but I don't know how long I need. It's just like the credits. I'm not sure how long I need to see a cool effect. Just get in, get out, man.
I know.
Don't let me spend so much time with everything.
If it's 1978 and you're in the theater, you're like, holy shit. Like it was like me with Avatar, Way of Water. Like I could just watch them be underwater for 2 straight hours. I was so dreading this moment because of when she starts her poem.
It didn't bother me.
Can you read my mind?
It was weird, but I mean, the movie's weird. Like
the movie is weird.
Yeah.
So the idea here was she would literally sing this song. She's just saying the lyrics to what would have been the song
in her head.
Yes. And I guess she would have sung the song in her head. She wouldn't have literally done a musical number. I don't know though. And it's this theme that keeps recurring. The can do 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 do. That's can you read my mind? Mm-hmm. You can hear recorded versions of this. There was one that came out that, charted on the Billboard charts. But Richard Donner's like, no, we can't do this. That sort of breaks the movie too much. But I think that one way it might work is that this movie's kind of like a Bollywood movie. Uh-huh. It kind of has that vibe. And Bollywood movies and Indian movies in general, not just Bollywood, not just the Hindi language movies, will often have musical numbers. It will be a musical and also a crime movie and also a comedy and also a romance. It's like put all the movies into one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're getting with this
That's
movie.
what Kill was like is this romance movie and the bloodiest movie ever.
Yeah.
And overly sweet. And then it's also a comedy. Yeah.
Kill, if you haven't seen it, everybody, a Hindi language action movie.
Really good.
The Indian John Wick is a reductive way to put it, but it's awesome. It's thrilling. And that is grounded for Indian cinema. And it's relatively short. Indian movies can be 3 hours long and super violent, but also have romantic musical numbers.
That new Josh Hartnett movie, Fight or Flight, looks fucking awesome, and it looks like an airplane version of Kill. I'm excited.
Fuck yes.
And it's made by the guys who made John Wick.
So he returns her to her house. He flies away, and she's like, "What a Superman!" What? And then Clark Kent arrives. He's like, "Lois, we have a date tonight." Oh,
we fucking did? I got a note.
Yeah.
I was always going to be meeting a friend. I guess you're a friend.
But she agreed to go on a date with him, I guess. I don't know. The movie skips past a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But she's like, what? Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And when she's in the bathroom, Clark is decides I need to tell her the truth. Hey, Lois, in his Superman voice. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm excited about our date. Because he just can't tell her.
You don't want to lay that on her. Then we get to see this fucking amazing layer again. And here's the pool. There's even a very creepy fucking tunnel because it is some kind of, I don't know, it's the ruins of a city from long ago. I guess it's a subway station or something. I don't know what this thing is, but It's got tunnels. You could die in here, but you could take a dip. There's no way that water's warm. It's amazing looking.
Some fucking Universal Studios, since you're the theme park that's doing stuff, not Disney, license this and make a water attraction out of it, please.
Well, this needs to be at a hotel. This needs to be the theme of a hotel. The fucking the Daily Planet, and with the planet on top of the fucking high rise of the hotel, and this is where the recreation happens.
Perfect. What a great idea, Lacey.
Thank you.
So, Lex is swimming in his pool and he's like, what do y'all think about Superman or whatever? I think he's handsome. And Otis is like, maybe Superman is just passing through on his way somewhere else. Later, they're reading Lois's interview with Superman. And from this, Lex Luthor is able to determine, he's like, well, Krypton exploded in 1948. Let me do the math. Okay, yes, there will be space debris and it can be used as a weapon against Superman.
Sure.
And look at this. A meteorite has just landed in Addis Ababa, which is in Ethiopia, I believe. And let's go get it.
Good on them for not making any racially inappropriate jokes.
I know.
Were they cut out?
No, the closest thing is they're looking at the picture of the person from Ethiopia. And she's like, I wonder what they're wearing over in Addis Ababa. probably and then whatever she sees in the picture. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that's a racist joke.
Yeah, you're just looking
But
at
maybe it just sounds like that to like the uncles who are watching, like, oh yeah.
Yeah. She called it out like she's seen it.
So they need to steal some missiles. So Miss Tessmacher poses as a passed out blonde on the side of the road.
With her legs sprawled open, tits out. Like, there's 3 rapey kisses in this entire... or 3 kisses to a person who is knocked out. Let's just say that. I won't say rapey.
Her being passed out and sexy makes all the army guys who are escorting a nuclear bomb. I don't know if it's a nuclear missile. It's just a missile. It's an ICBM. It's a big deal. But they pull over. They're like, hey, a lady. And the movie makes the army look stupid as hell.
Yeah,
and that is a just diametrically opposed way that the army, the military is portrayed in movies today. In fact, the Department of Defense literally works with many movie studios, notably Marvel, and gets script approval in exchange for Marvel getting to use their like equipment and stuff to film it. It's the kind of thing that when you hear about it happening in China or North Korea, you're like, that's just government propaganda.
Yeah.
But when it happens here, that's just what we do.
We need the stuff.
But it's also interesting because like you could show people in the military looking dumb because this is still a period of time where the draft was already gone by this point, but it's in people's memory. Like I could be in the army. My dumbass son could be in the army. My friend could be in the army. Now the army, the military is like a totally separate institution from anything that we would touch with our actual lives. So it feels like we can't comment on it. We can't make fun of it. We can't criticize it. But back then you could think I could be in the army. Therefore I can make fun of the army. And that's a thing that would change over time. Mm-hmm. Their plan worked, except Otis fucked it up. So he like miscalibrated the missile. So they change plans. They take an 18-wheeler truck and they just get it in the way of the army. And the army's like, hey, get that truck out of here. And Gene Hackman gets out of the truck and he's like, heck of a day, isn't it? And
which one of us should back up? I don't know.
He's just
both of us it'd be difficult either way.
Yeah. While they're trying to solve this problem, Miss Tessmacher sneaks in and recalibrates the missiles. This Tessmacher. Jimmy and Lois go out west. Jimmy to photograph a dam. Lois to talk to a Native American man who has sold lots of tracts of land to a mysterious billionaire. Don't know why.
This is all very pat. This is really convenient timing for everything.
Well, Clark is back at the office and then he hears the dog pitch message, like a high frequency message from Lex Luthor. Listen up, Superman. If you don't come to my place.
Guy is smart.
If you don't come to my place, I'll unleash a chemical gas, killing all of Metropolis. So he flies down to Lex's lair.
Just jumps right out the casually jumps out the window where people aren't looking, and his Superman costume just is there now. It just goes wipe.
He arrives at the lair, like busts open the door. Gene Hackman's like, "Come in, door's open." And then my attorney will be in touch about the door. So then he describes his real estate plan, which I think we've explained already, right?
It's fucking good. But the names are fun. Because then he's like, he sees something that's like Sharpied in on his little plans, and it says Otisburg.
Yeah, we'll have Lex Springs, Lexington, Lutherville, Otisburg. Otisburg? Oh, thought Mr. Luthor, Miss Tessmacher got her own place.
She'd already written on this.
Otisburg.
Tessmacher Farms.
And yeah, it's written, and the S is backwards because he's an idiot. So Ned Beatty gets down and he erases what he's written.
Fine, I mean, it's just a little piece of land. It's in the middle. It's big.
Yeah. It is a great villain plan. Maybe the best that there's ever been in a movie.
They're going to use a missile to explode along the San Andreas fault line, thereby breaking California in half. All of the highest and most expensive real estate will go into the ocean, and he's bought up everything from that fault backwards. So he becomes the new California.
Honestly, does it sound that far-fetched?
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Also, I got another missile. It's heading for Hackensack, New Jersey.
We don't know why.
Luther, you madman.
My mother lives in Hackensack.
The only way you can stop me is with my detonator switch. And he's like, where's the detonator switch, Luthor? And he starts looking around and there's a lead box. And Gene Hackman's like, no, don't look in my lead box. And he's like, you thought you could trick me by hiding it in lead, but no, inside a kryptonite necklace. And Christopher Reeve plays this really well. He is very afraid of this kryptonite. Yeah. He's like a vampire.
And it slowly depletes him. It's not, I mean, it's immediate, but it's, but Lex Luthor knows what he has to do is put him in water, because all it does is like keep him low to the ground and weak.
Yeah.
You got to put him in the...
So this is just all in the acting. This is just,
Yeah.
hey, act like this necklace prop we're putting on you is draining your life force. Okay. And we believe it. And they just throw Superman into the pool. And Miss Tessmacher goes up to Lex and says, Lex, my mom lives in Hackensack. And Gene Hackman, in the finest moment of film acting in the history of cinema, looks down at his watch, looks at her, and just shakes his head no. That's it. No. That is, I made a video where I explained why he's my favorite actor. I would just show that scene. It is so funny.
My mom lives in Hackensack. She don't live. She just don't.
Because he doesn't say that. You just hear.
But he's like, you're wrong.
So, but yeah, this turns her against Lex, and she jumps into the water to save Superman. But before she pulls off the necklace, she's like, promise you'll save my mom. Oh, and she kisses him while he's still passed out. And she takes the thing off, and he's like, why did you kiss me? Why did you kiss me first before you took off the thing? And she's like, I didn't think you'd let me later.
And he's like, that's cute and rapey. And then he caresses her cheek.
Well, you know.
What?
No, it's just, she's a hot lady. He's Superman. We're all friends here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. He does. He goes and gets the New Jersey missile. But while he
makes him late to the Lois Lane situation.
The other one hits California, which triggers the San Andreas fault.
And it kind of is his San Andreas fault.
It really is. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so
he's a man of his word. That's why I'm saying he is a Boy Scout. He cannot lie. So he did have to go to New Jersey first.
Right. And I love that the movie is so fleet of foot that it's not even explaining that. What is it like? If he makes a promise, his literally.
We can't lie.
His atoms won't allow him to break his promise. It's just, don't worry about that. He just doesn't lie.
He just needs these guy with a thing. That's his thing.
Exactly. He doesn't lie. So don't worry about it. These effects look great. The Golden Gate Bridge snapping, it's fucking great.
I kept thinking, this looks like such an expensive movie. There's so many shots.
Yeah, very expensive and very profitable, and yet still only the number 2 movie of the year behind. It's a movie we've covered on this podcast before. Can you guess what it is?
Time of the year?
1978.
Don't know why I asked. Close Encounters?
No.
Shoot.
Good guess. A movie that you wouldn't think would be. It's not like a sci-fi blockbuster. It's a musical.
Fucking musical. Grease?
Grease, yes.
That's 1978?
Yeah.
Huh. It was a sensation. Sorry, Superman, you had no shot. And
Superman literally goes into the earth and fixes the fault himself. And he saves a train. He saves the Golden Gate Bridge. But there's a dam that Jimmy Olsen is near. It bursts. It's going to destroy this town. Superman just throws some rocks down.
I had no idea that was Jimmy Olsen. I just thought that was some kid. I was like, why do they keep showing this fucking kid? Who gives a shit? Totally.
So when he reunites with Lois, Lacey was like, he
was okay.
But he can't get to Lois in time. She is crushed to death in her car.
It is fucked up.
It harrowing.
Goes on
yes.
and on. And the car's just stuck in one position. She just can't get through because it's slowly crushing the car. And she's not crushed to death. She doesn't fall in a fucking pit. She's buried alive, and we watch it happen. It is fucked up. She's dirty, and he gets there pretty soon after, and it's like, you have lungs of fucking dynamite and steel or whatever. Blow into. What are you doing?
He doesn't know that he can do that.
I don't. I'm like, what?
Well, that's why he's so upset, and he screams.
And he's very convinced he's good. He did a good acting there.
Takes off, goes into space. He sees his dad in the clouds being like, jor-el or Kal-El, I told you, don't interfere. But then that gets drowned out with Paul. My son,
we don't know what it was.
You were put on this earth for a reason. And so he decides, that's right.
Date someone named Lois Wayne.
I'll reverse the earth's rotation.
But I'll fix it before, I will make it rotate the wrong way. But we can't just always have time going backwards. So I will go back the other way for a moment just to get the spinning right. Just in time to go right backwards.
That's why it's great.
He thought of it all.
Does it make sense at all? No, of course not. In fact, even if you accept that he can turn back time, does he stop the nuke? What?
We don't know.
Because Lois is like, hey, Superman, I just saw a dam burst and a rocket go off and an earthquake. And
it's like, so you saved one lady in Hackensack, and then Lois,
did he condemn all those children to death?
Also, you spinned it back a lot. Did you even do the Hackensack thing?
No, didn't even do that. Yeah. and also doesn't save her. Right? I mean, she's fine, but she's out of gas, and she's like, "You're never around when I need you, Superman." And he's like, "Gosh, Lois, I'm real sorry, but hey, I got a job to do." And then Jimmy Olsen shows up, and he's like, "Superman, you abandoned me to
no gas, no wheels, whatever." And
there's snakes.
Like, I'm doing it again. Bye.
He takes off. Jimmy Olsen's like, "Gee whiz, it's too bad Clark wasn't here to see this. You know, our brand new friend who we met 2 days ago." And she's like, "Yeah, Clark's never around when Superman." What? Hey, you don't think? No, Lois Lane, that's the stupidest idea. Superman shows up at a prison, at a maximum security prison with Lex and Otis in tow.
This'll do.
And he says, "Mr. Warden, these men will be safe here until they get a fair trial."
We need a fair, we can't not do the justice system.
That's why he is great, because he points out they need a fair trial.
And if he ever answered the phone, he'd say hello and goodbye, because he never fucking leaves without saying goodbye to anyone. Mm-hmm. Even us.
Gene Hackman takes off his wig. He's wearing a bald wig and a bald cap.
He's not wearing a bald cap.
He is. This is a bald cap.
He's not wearing a bald cap.
I promise you this is a bald cap.
You can see his hair. You can see that he shaved his head.
He did not shave his head for this role. This was a famous thing. He did not. He refused to shave his head for this.
You son of a bitch.
"I'm Lex Luthor, criminal mastermind." And as he's talking, Otis is being his hype man and just starts talking over him. And then they get mad at each other. Great. This warden comes out. And he's like, "Superman, the country is safe. Thanks to you." And he's like, "Don't thank me. We're on the same team. Thank you."
And then that warden goes and abuses the shit out of a couple of black men in his custody. And he's like, "We all are on the same team."
The last line of the movie is Superman thanking a maximum security prison warden.
Right.
So like
me and you, same team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's supposed to be satire. Like Superman's thanking a prison warden.
I thought he was the commish. I thought we were doing a Batman.
And then Superman flies into space and spikes the camera. "Hey guys."
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should saying hi to a planet. We don't know.
Planet. I'm a planet.
Hey, planet.
And
all right.
That's the movie. That's Superman. What a picture.
Wow, what a thing.